The sun hung high over the West Texas plains like a big old brass dinner bell, beating down on the red dirt and making the mesquite shimmer. 4th of July, 2025, and Evelyn May Whitaker, 72 years young, widow of 31 years and tougher than a $2 steak, was rolling up the Caliche driveway in her '98 Ford F-150. The truck rattled like a tin can full of marbles, but it still ran, same as Evelyn. She had on her cherished Lukeshi boots, the ones with the inlaid roses she'd bought the day her husband Roy was buried, and a denim skirt starched stiff enough to stand on its own. In the passenger seat sat 2 still warm apple pies wrapped in tea towels, cinnamon, brown sugar, and a whisperin' nutmeg, the way her mama taught her back when Lubbock was nothing but cotton and cattle. "Grandma Evie!" The holler came from little Wyatt, age 7, who shot off the porch like a bottle rocket, boots kicking up dust devils. His sister Sadie, 10 years old, was right behind him, pigtails flapping. Evelyn's heart did a 2-step. These youngins were the only reason she still drove the 200 miles from her little clapboard house in Midland every holiday. Her son Travis leaned against a cedar post, arms folded, Stetson tipped low. At 48, he looked every inch the rancher. Sun leathern skin, wranglers pressed with a crease sharp enough to slice bread. His wife Brandy stood beside him in a stars and stripes bikini top and cutoffs, holding a red Solo cup like it was glued to her manicured fingers. A dozen cousins, in-laws, and hired hands milled round the smokers, the smell of brisket and ribs thick enough to chew. "Happy Independence Day, Mama," Travis drawled, giving her a one-armed hug that felt more like a pat on a dog's head. "Brought us dessert again, I see." "Wouldn't be the 4th without my pie," Evelyn said, handing the tins to Sadie. "Y'all saved me a rib here."
Inside the sprawling ranch house, built with her money, though nobody ever said it out loud, the AC blasted cold enough to hang meat. American flags everywhere, Bud Light banners, and a giant flat screen playing Toby Keith on loop. The kids dragged Evelyn to the dining table, where a pink envelope sat propped against a mason jar of wildflowers. "Read it out loud, Grandma," White begged. "It's from all of us." Evelyn's fingers trembled just a hair as she slit the seal. The card was homemade, hearts and stars and red crayon, clearly the grandkids' artwork. Sweet as sorghum, she thought, and cleared her throat. "Roses are red, violets are blue. You're a dusty old cowpoke. Time to ride into the sunset, permanently." The room froze for half a heartbeat, quieter than a graveyard at midnight. Then Travis snorted beer through his nose. Brandy doubled over, cackling like a hen laying a square egg. Even the cousins joined in, whoops and hollers bouncing off the knotty pine walls. Little Wyatt giggled because the grown-ups were. Sadie looked confused but clapped anyway. Evelyn felt the words hit her chest like a 30-30 slug. Her smile cracked clean in two. The card fluttered to the table, landing face up like a dead armadillo on the highway. "Lord have mercy, Mama, your face," Brandy wheezed, wiping mascara tears. "Travis wrote it. Ain't he a hoot?" Travis snapped a photo with his iPhone. "Gonna make that my lock screen. Classic." Evelyn's voice came out smaller than she meant. "Y'all think that's funny?"
"Lighten up, it's a prank," Travis said, wave of his hand. "But seriously, Mama, you have been underfoot lately. Maybe think about one of them senior ranches down in San Antonio. They got bingo, line dancing, the whole 9 yards. You'd fit right in." Brandy nodded, sipping her cup. "We love you, but Travis and I got big plans. Expanding the herd, maybe a hunting lodge. Can't have you slowing us down." The kids tugged at Evelyn's skirt. "Grandma, why you crying?" "Ain't crying, sugar. Just dust in my eye." She lasted another hour, long enough to watch the men shoot skeet, the women post selfies, nobody offering her a chair or a cold drink. When the first fireworks popped over the barn, Evelyn slipped out, pies untouched, boots crunching gravel, all the way to her truck. The drive home was a blur of tears and tumbleweeds. By the time she hit Midland, something fierce had replaced the hurt. A slow, burning anger hotter than a branding iron. She'd raised that boy from diapers, sold her wedding ring to put him through Texas A&M, handed over $50,000 for his first herd of Angus, babysat 6 days a week while he and Brandy partied in Austin. And this was her thank you? Evelyn pulled into her carport, killed the engine, and sat in the dark. The house was quiet, too quiet. Roy's old Stetson still hung on the rack, his scent long gone. She poured herself a finger of Maker's Mark, neat, and stared at the prank card she'd brought home like evidence. Time to remember who Evelyn May Whitaker really was. She was 12 when her daddy, Wildcat Whitaker, struck oil on a lease outside Odessa. Black gold shot 100 feet in the air, and the Whitakers went from sharecroppers to millionaires.
Overnight, Daddy bought the Double Bar W, 100,000-acre spread in Montana, prime grass, big sky, and more oil seeps than a body could count. He put it in a blind trust for Evelyn the day she turned 21. Told her, "Darling, keep this quiet. Folks'll love you for your money or hate you for it. Either way, they won't love you." She married Roy at 19, moved to Midland, raised Travis. Daddy died when Travis was 5. The ranch stayed secret, managed by a Billings law firm, pumping quiet money into accounts Evelyn never touched. She lived on Roy's pension and her nurse's aide salary, driving the same truck, wearing the same boots. Travis thought she was broke as a hallelujah on Monday. Evelyn finished her bourbon, set the glass down with a click. "No more, Lord, no more." Next morning, July 5, 5:47 a.m., she was up with the roosters. Coffee black as crude, laptop open. First order, cancel the $2,000 monthly hay fund she'd been auto-sending Travis. Done. Second, close the joint account labeled Family Emergencies. Balance transferred to her personal checking, $47,000 and change. Third, call Mr. Delgado, the Billings attorney who'd handled the ranch since Nixon was president. "Mrs. Whitaker, been expecting your call for years." "I'm ready," Evelyn told him. "Full access, and I need the house stocked. Groceries, horse feed, the works." "Give me 72 hours, ma'am. Welcome home." By noon, she was at the bank in Midland, signing papers in a flurry. The manager, a kid who'd been in Travis's 4-H club, gawked when the trust figures flashed on screen. 2.1 million liquid, another 1.8 in mineral rights, the Montana ranch appraised at $22 million. Evelyn just smiled. "Family business," she said. That afternoon, she met with her own lawyer, Miss Letty Ruiz, sharp as a spur rowel. "Rewrite the will," Evelyn instructed. "Everything, cash, land, mineral deeds, goes to the Texas Veterans Land Board. Travis and Brandy get zilch. Grandkids get education trusts at 25, but only if they visit me twice a year. No strings from their parents." Letty raised an eyebrow. "You sure you don't want to sleep on this?" "Darling, I slept on it for 50 years. I'm wide awake now." Packing took one evening. Jeans, flannel shirts, her daddy's old Winchester 30-30, photo albums, and the Lucchese boots. She left the house key under the mat for the realtor. She'd sell it furnished. On the kitchen table, she set 2 envelopes on Longhorn stationery. To Travis and Brandy. By the time y'all read this, I'll be gone. The money train has left the station, permanently. I gave you my wedding ring, my savings, my time, my heart. You gave me a prank card and a boot out the door. Lesson learned. The Double Bar W is mine, always was. Y'all enjoy scratching for what's left. Tell the kids Grandma loves 'em, but love ain't free no more.
Evelyn May, the dusty old cowpoke who just bought herself a new sunrise. She mailed a second envelope to the kids, full of quarters and a note. Save these for phone calls when you're old enough to dial long distance. July 8th, she pointed the F-150 north. Texas melted into Oklahoma, then Colorado. The plains given away to pine and peaks. 36 hours, 2 motels, 1 Whataburger stop. On the 10th, she crossed into Montana under a sky so big it swallowed her whole. The double-barred W gate swung open like it had been waiting. A quarter-mile later, the ranch house appeared, log and stone, wraparound porch, American flags snapping in the wind. The foreman, Hank Jr., son of her daddy's old hand, met her with a grin and a cold Coors.
Miss Evelyn, the boy's been keeping her tight. 600 head, new barn, and the north pastures greener than Ireland. Evelyn stepped out, boots hitting Montana soil for the first time in 51 years. The air smelled of sage and freedom. She tipped her hat. "Feels like coming home, Hank." First week was a whirlwind. She hired a cook, a wrangler, and a mechanic for the fleet of ATVs. She rode fence lines at dawn, her daddy's ghost-riding shotgun in her memory. The hands called her Miss Evie and meant it with respect. Evenings, she sat on the porch with a bourbon, watching the Milky Way spill across the sky like spilled sugar. Back in Texas, the fallout hit like a northern. Travis's feed bill bounced. Brandy's boutique credit card was declined at Neiman's. The ranch sale they'd planned, using Evelyn's emergency fund, fell through. Travis stormed Midland, found the house empty, realtor sign in the yard. The prank card was still on the table, now under a layer of dust. Come August, postcards came. One showed Evelyn on a chestnut gelding, mountains behind her, grand wider than the Rio Grande. Caption, "Wishing y'all were here? Nah, me neither." Another, her standing beside a pump jack spurting fresh crude, $2,100 a barrel that week. Back read, "Y'all taught this cowgirl to ride solo." Travis tried calling. Number disconnected. Brandy posted sob stories on Facebook. Nobody bought it. The Veterans Charity sent a thank you letter for the anonymous $2 million pledge, mailed to the ranch address Travis never knew existed. Come September, Evelyn hosted her first roundup. 50 veterans, PTSD survivors, riding horses, roping calves, sitting around campfires telling stories. She taught Wyatt's age group how to two-step, taught Sadie how to shoot straight. The kids flew up with a chaperone, Brandy and Travis, too proud to come. Evelyn hugged them fierce, slipped $100 bills in their pockets, whispered, "Save it for college, not your folks' mistakes." Fall turned to winter. Snow dusted the crazy mountains. The herd grew fat. Evelyn bought a new cutting horse, named her Independence. She started a blog, Ranch Heiress at 72. Photos of sunrises, recipes for apple pie, essays on second chances. Went viral. Publishers called. She laughed, told them she was too busy living to write. Thanksgiving, she roasted a turkey the size of a saddle, invited every hand and veteran on the place. No empty chairs. Christmas, she flew the grandkids up again. They learned to ski, to brand, and to cuss in Spanish from the Mexican cook. Travis sent a text, "Can we talk?" She replied with a photo of the kids riding double on Independence, captioned, "Actions, not words, son." Spring calving brought new life, hundreds of bawling babies. Evelyn, 73 now, still swung into the saddle before dawn. Her Lucchese boots scarred the crowd. One morning, a black SUV rolled up the drive. Travis stepped out, hat in hand, looking older than the hills. "Mama," he started, voice cracking. Evelyn leaned on the corral rail, arms folded. "State your business." "I was wrong. Dead wrong. We treated you like a doormat." "Yup. I lost the ranch. Bank took it. Brandy left. I'm working days at the feed store." Evelyn studied him. Same eyes as Roy, same stubborn jaw. What do you want, Travis?
To make it right, whatever it takes. She nodded slow. Start by apologizing to your kids. Then spend a month here. Muck stalls, fix fence, eat dust. No pay. If you last, we'll talk. He lasted. 6 weeks of blisters, sunburn, and humble pie. One night by the fire, he handed her the prank card, now creased and faded. I'm sorrier than a coyote in a hen house. Evelyn took it, fed it to the flames. Water under the bridge, son. But bridges gotta be rebuilt, plank by plank. Summer returned, hotter than a tin roof in July. Travis stayed on as foreman, paid this time. The grandkids spent the whole break learning to rope, to ride, to respect the land. Brandy sent a letter begging forgiveness. Evelyn replied with a bus ticket and an offer to cook for the veterans if she could keep her mouth shut and her hands busy. Brandy showed up, worked the kitchen, cried into the biscuits. One evening in late August, Evelyn stood on the porch watching the sunset paint the mountains gold. Travis joined her, 2 long necks in hand. Never you had all this, Mama. It wasn't about the money, son. It was about the love. He clinked his bottle against hers. Reckon I'm learning. Far off, a calf bawled. The wind carried the scent of sage and fresh-cut hay. Evelyn tipped her hat back, boots planted firm on Montana soil.
Y'all taught this cowgirl to ride solo, she said, smiling at the horizon. Turns out I like the view from the saddle just fine. And under that big sky, the forgotten heiress finally came home, boots, bourbon, and all.